Have you ever wanted a mod so bad? You stay up all night doing research, you save up the money for it, you drive 2 hours each way to pick it up, you bust your knuckles installing it, only to take your car for a drive and find out that it's now worse than it was before? Me too. I'm going to tell you how that happened to me and how you can avoid it. When I first bought my Golf GTI, I knew that I wanted to slam it. I wanted to drive up scraping pavement, lower than your ex-girlfriend's standards. I wanted to just be super slam. So I did what any impatient jackass would do. Search the local classifieds, because ain't nobody got time to wait for shipping. I want it now. It's important for me to mention that I was super worried that the coilovers would not be low enough. Who wants to spend coilover money and have your car look like it's on lowering springs? No thank you. I want to get some bang for my buck. I want it to be low. That was a fatal mistake, guys. Always do your research when buying coilovers or any other parts for them. And yes, before you guys flame me, I didn't want to spend the extra money on bags. That could be double, even triple the cost of coilovers. Finally find these coilovers. The box says deep low. I'm thinking, this is it. This is the ticket. I'm gonna buy these and everything's gonna be peachy.
Everything was not peachy.
I drive out, pick up the coilovers, drive back home. Naturally, I want to install them right then and there. It's like 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. No problem. Nothing can go wrong now.
3 days later,
finally finished installing the coilovers. Let's go conservative. I'm just gonna start it somewhere in the middle. I think the car should be able to do that. It should be an okay height, if not at its lowest setting. This is when my second fatal mistake happened. I didn't research at all. I installed them with the collars halfway down and I said, hey, looks good. I saw that the box said deep low and the rest was just a blur. I let the car down. Of course, it wasn't drivable. I could tell that it was
kind of tight.
But I took it around the block anyway, and let me tell you, it came back smelling like a Chinese condom factory. It was already too late. The damage had been done. Fenders were blown out, fender liner was completely ripped out, tires were gouged, paint was cracked on the fenders. Overall, a major fail on my part.
I thought I could fix this.
Cranked the camera to as negative as it could go, spun the colors as high as they could go, tried everything you could think of in order to make these coilovers work with the wheels that I had. Here is my third fatal mistake. There could have been a solution, actually two possible solutions. Either I get wheels which will have less offset and don't stick out as much, so whenever I go over a bump or I turn full lock, the tire wouldn't touch the fenders, or I could have gotten 17-inch rims and smaller tires so they'd have a smaller diameter, they wouldn't touch. Of course, before getting the coilovers, your boy got some nice Prodigy Works 4-piston big brake kit. The bigger caliper means I cannot fit wheels with less offset. The rim will literally touch the caliper. Don't worry, I've done that too. Think of them as Prodigy Works Super Leggera. I'm a real man, so I drove the car like that for 2 years. The coilovers were actually pretty okay. It wasn't without consequence. Forever damaging my mint fenders, and you know I had to damage the front and the back to make it match. It gets better, because during those 2 years of riding Cholo, the front top hat broke on the coilover. I look around, I emailed the manufacturer to try to get a replacement. Turns out it costs almost as much as the coilovers to replace that one part. Come to find even later that the reason why it broke is because I spun the colors up way too high in order to make the wheels fit. Even though I was only running 18s, which are the wheel size that the Mark 7 GTI comes with. Who would make coilovers that don't work with the OEM rims? I guess they would have probably worked with the OEM rims because the OEM rims have less offset than the wheels that I was using at the time, but it doesn't matter. Sit rep, I ruined my Golf, I ruined the coilovers, I ruined the fenders, fender liner, I ruined the tires. Finally, I decided to read the instruction manual for the coilovers, where it said for show use only.
Not for road use.
Had I done the research, I would have figured out that these coilovers are actually only for cars that, you know, go into a trailer, go into a show, come back, not a car that someone's gonna be driving to work and back every day. Guys, learn from my mistake. Don't get too horny for car parts that you get blinded, and don't do any research and just drive out and buy something because it's available and it's quick and you can get it now, because it may end up costing you more money and quite possibly a good chunk of your sanity. If you learned something, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you guys next week.